Well, it's official, Albo doesn't stand for anything. Now, despite the fact that the election result was how many months ago? May. Despite the fact that there have been multiple opportunities to just go, you know what? We know it didn't work. Goodbye, 45% renewables. 45% emissions reduction. Goodbye, 50-50 renewables. No, we march back into the parliament and there's a climate emergency. Good luck squaring that one. We're on a listening tour of Queensland. We understand the power of mining, but there's a climate emergency, which would mean no more mines. Repeat what I said at the start of the show. Without mining, without the resources, sorry, Sooks, the budgets collapse. All right? Good feelings and hashtags do not replace the billions of dollars that are required to run the states now. You can see me down the road in 30 years in your wonderful time machine, but we have to pay for hospitals today. Well, when being asked about this, well, OK, are you going to get rid of any of the bad ideas? What do you stand for now? Unbelievably, the alternative Prime Minister of this country said this.
We looked a lot like a government in waiting, and the government looked a lot like an opposition in exile on the government benches during the election campaign. There was no scrutiny of the government policies. We want to make sure that there is scrutiny of the government, and that in 2022, take for example an issue where we've said we want to see Newstart increased. It's not up to us now to say what that level should be, because we want it increased sometime between now and 2022, which is what we have said.
Well, that's clear. That's clear to me, Darrin. Look, if you are weighed down with bad ideas, you get rid of the bad ideas. In 2007, when the Liberal Party was handed its head after what it did in office with work choices, they went, OK, cool, election's clear, we're getting rid of it, we'll walk away from it, we're not going to find a way to continue to champion it. His logic is, we're going to stand for nothing because that means we're a better chance of winning.
I think there is a bit of Rudd playbook to this, where they're going to try and have a small number of topics that they focus on to attack the government, and that will be much closer to the election than now, and they want to keep themselves as a small target. But the risk is that you alienate your own base in the meantime. And I think when the Liberals first came to opposition after Rudd, through the first Brendan Nelson period, through the Malcolm Turnbull period, there was a lot of that where the base were pretty annoyed. And that's the problem. This feels like a change of government election. It feels like a first-term government, and that makes it really hard for Albo. But I think he's the best tactician that Labor has, and I think he proved that when he was Leader of the House. Rudd took the reins from opposition. These guys are playing a long game, and it's trying to keep the focus elsewhere. He's just got to make sure that people keep the faith. Between now, he's going to make a series of headland speeches, but at the moment, the government's getting a reasonably clear run.
But also, and look, we'll get to Angus Taylor and all of the other things that may well be a little wobble for the government at the moment, but Adam, I mean, again, official, he stands for nothing. Is this a good idea?
Well, I don't know that he necessarily stands for nothing. He's like the bloke who's in the new position, new job, and he's running around with band-aids, just putting them over all the cracks. But I mean, he's leading a party that presented a bunch of policies that the majority of Australians didn't endorse, didn't accept and didn't vote for. And Darren's point about small target versus big target, I think is exactly right. If Bill Shorten could have his time again, he wouldn't have a big target strategy. And I think what you're seeing with Albo right now is a person who's a little bit like the apprentice in developing into that leadership role in the job. But he's also trying to, I think, keep the party happy with the same policies, but reframe himself into a small target, so in 3 years or 2 years' time when the next election is, he doesn't have to have fights on so many fronts, which is what Bill Shorten was facing by announcing all of his policies. I mean, if he didn't announce all of those radical loony things, he'd probably be Prime Minister. But when people start looking at franking credits and the impacts of negative gearing, they start asking questions and they won't put that endorsement out there. So standing for nothing, well, you can't be attacked if there's nothing that you're putting out in front of you. The easiest thing in politics to do is nothing, and he's clearly trying to adopt that strategy.
What is the genius that I'm missing here, Christy?
I don't think there's much genius, Paul. Albo's coming into the traditional killing season of politicians. I don't think he's very much at risk. I agree with Adam that he probably has been the best tactician that Labor has had for quite some time. They have an excellent front bench second tier in waiting, but I think there's a view in the party that a lot of those people need more time and they need a win under their belt to make a clear run out of it. But to the small target point, if you were an opposition trying to go small target, you wouldn't pick climate change. That comes with, well, how are we going to balance technology and renewables with the coal industry? How are we going to tell people in those 9 seats in Queensland that were under 5% before the election that where are they going to get a job from? That's not a small target issue. I can understand the New Start, but climate change is one area which requires a myriad of policy development that you can be attacked on. It's not small target.